On to our health focus here on 5 Live. Now, we covered sugar for you, we covered salt as well. So now let's turn our attention to perhaps the most important ingredient in your kitchen. It's your cooking oil. High edible consumption or high edible oil consumption actually in not just your culinary habit in India, it's a serious public health concern as well. Research shows that an average Indian uses approximately 13.6 kgs of oil per year. That's around 80% of households routinely reuse leftover frying oil as well. Practices that significantly increase exposure to harmful components linked to your heart disease, diabetes, obesity, and other lifestyle illnesses here. The good news is, however, that awareness is growing. In India's top health agencies, including ICMR and NIN, they're now issuing guidelines to cap oil intake at just 30 grams per day. Now you'll ask me, how do we calculate that? I'll tell you. Emphasize on moderation and also encourage safer choices in cooking oils to curb the rising tide of non-communicable diseases. So between sunflower oil, olive oil, there is extra virgin and light, then there is mustard oil, there is coconut, there is ghee, there is nut oil. There are so many of them. Which one is the healthiest? Let's tell you that. So take out your pen and paper and get ready to take some notes. This is your oil handbook. Now, what each oil has in common is the fact that they have certain levels of burning temperature and then the combination of food it's used with. So we'll take you through all of those details. Let's pick up first up sunflower oil. High in omega-6 fats. Now omega-6 is essential, but remember excess can drive inflammation as well. Now this oil is good for frying, but best used sparingly, especially when refined is also for stability as well. Now remember, this is the kind of oil which is very popular, most used in our houses as well. So you should continue to use it, but in proportion. Olive oil, this is also, remember, of two types. There is extra virgin, there is light. Olive oil is rich in heart-healthy MUFAs. What are MUFs? Well, think of them as your friend of the heart. MUFAs can help lower the bad cholesterol, the LDL, the kind that sort of clogs your heart and keeps the good cholesterol, that's the HDL, in check. So extra virgin olive oil is an ideal to be used in raw form or in lightly warm. If you're using anything at high temperature, switch to the olive, which is processed, which is also light, which is called your olive oil light. Next, let's move to mustard oil. It's traditional, it's pungent, it's rich in MUFAs and omega-3. It's got a high smoke point. That means it doesn't break out at lower temperatures. So it's good for especially Indian kind of cooking. You get health and heat resilience both in this oil. But remember, the cold pressed is the better version. But when you're using cold pressed, the key is to use it at medium to medium heat only. Okay, then let's move on to the next one, which is ghee. Earlier demonized, now celebrated. It's saturated yet nutrient-rich with fat-soluble vitamins and deep flavor. A lot of people are having spoonfuls of ghee right in the morning, late at night as well. It is a good oil, but remember, use thoughtfully, not liberally. Let's move on to the next set of oils. These are all nut oils now. Peanut, walnut, almond, even, a lot of avocado level oils as well that come to your households, the very fancy ones these days. They are great in flavor. They are healthy fats as well. But remember, peanut oil stays stable under heat. Walnut, almond oil, they shine raw as finishing touches. So add them to your salad maybe, not so much for cooking. But then there is coconut oil. All your South Indians watching right now, don't hate us when you give you the details. It's predominantly saturated, used occasionally in the best capacity in traditional or aromatic dishes. It's not your daily go-to for health heart. It is not. So be careful about it. The bottom line here is, when it comes to oil, that there is no one oil that will fix your health. You need to focus less on which kind of oil you're using and focus more on how much of oil you're using. Remember, smart oil habits will result in better health outcomes. Choose oils based on your cooking style, depending on if it's high heat, low heat, just salads, its nutritional needs as well. Cold pressed are for flavor and for great for health as well. Refined when you need to heat endurance. If you're deep frying something, which you shouldn't ideally, but if you do have to use something which is more refined. Rotating your oil, that's also a good option actually, and it ensures that healthy fat balance is maintained in your gut, in your body as well, and sort of favor unsaturated fats. Never ever use oil which reuse the oil for deep frying. Just one reuse can elevate toxic compounds like which are linked to heart disease, inflammation, cancer, even brain health decline. Some basic do's and don'ts that you should remember with oil is that don't overheat your oil. If it starts smoking early, throw it. It's probably bad quality or perhaps has gone bad. Always keep your oil in a dark, airtight, cool, opaque container. That's the best way. If you spot signs, cloudiness, foam, a strong smell, or a dark color, you should know that this is not to be used. It's past its peak. And most importantly, and this is going to be tricky, stick to 2 to 4 tablespoons a day. That's it, to avoid weight gain and also your cholesterol imbalance. Can we do that? Well, that's the challenge really. Oil isn't just flavor, remember, it's fuel, health and risk all at once. The oils you cook can either nourish or harm. Let the science guide your daily choices. Use less, use better, and always keep your kitchen safe. So that's a lot of information coming in on your oil, but how to actually incorporate this in our day-to-day life? I couldn't have thought of two better people to actually bring on the program today. We have with us Dr. Ashok Seth, Chairman of Fortis Escorts Health Institute. Thank you so much, Doc, for being with us. We also have Dr. Nandita Iyer. She's a health coach, health educator. And Dr. Seth, I want to come to you first. A lot of people who say कि हम तो बचपन से ही इतना खा रहे हैं. This is the way we were brought up. This is what our body is used to. So suddenly when they see a program like this and they see an explainer like this and they say only 2 to 4 spoons in a day, like what's going on? What do you tell them? What happens when you over-consume oil to our body, to our hearts and other organs?
So that was extremely informative, and I tell you, I was enjoying it myself because you
Thank
really
you.
explained everything very well. And I think this is great information to every audience of yours. We have to understand that oils are fats, and we understand that fats are needed by the body. Fats are what absorb certain vitamins, which are fat-soluble vitamins. Fats is responsible for our cell membranes, for our brain, for our skin health, and numerous other parts of the body. So we rely on fats, and oil is one of the sources of fats in our body. But we also realize that fat is also a source of raising cholesterol, of getting the bad cholesterol down, and also harming ourselves if we eat excessive fats. And that leads to strokes, that leads to heart attacks. So when you said this around 4 to 6 tablespoonful or 30 ml or 30 grams of oil per day, you're actually correct in understanding that when we say that fat, proteins, and carbohydrates form part of a diet, what we essentially saying is that fat should form only 25% part of your diet, and that's enough for good health. Beyond that, it is bad for your heart. Now, it's also very important. The way we analyze and tell our patients is it's not just the oil which is bad, it's the type of oil which are bad. So you would replace good oils with bad oils. For example, we've been inundated in the past with vanaspati. We've also you talked about coconut oil. There are such a lot of misconceptions which happen in people saying, but hum to zindagi bhar se बहुत घी खाते थे.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
also understand that nobody said ghee was bad. It is the amount of ghee you eat. But what is our lifestyle now? We used to also exercise at the same time in the past. If we ate more oils, we were cycling, we were actually walking to work, we had habits which were all outdoors, and therefore we looked ourselves in many ways. Our food habits were also healthy. What did that mean? Lots of fruits, lots of vegetables. Now, what we eat is trans fats. So हम oil ही नहीं खाते, हम in fact poison खाते हैं. For example, you didn't mention the trans fats. You talked about the good oils, but look at the trans fats. It's a type of fats that we eat which is bad. The
Yeah.
food which is cooked in oil, recooked outside, चाहे वो हम जलेबी खा रहे हो, चाहे समोसे खा रहे हो, it's recooked oil, which is huge in trans fats. The biscuits, the chips, the cakes that are all stored are
It's
hydrogenated
the hidden
oils.
oil. It's
It's
the
the
hidden
hidden
oil
oil.
that's the hidden
That
fat, the hidden saturated fat that's
and they're
causing all the
real
problem.
healthier couscous. So they're the exact opposite of the good oils that you told. And we don't see it because it's all hidden there. And the chips and the kachoris and the saltish that we eat all
Yeah,
are full of trans fat. So we
yeah.
have a huge problem in our lives to differentiate it. In fact, policies need to come in to define the bad
Yes.
oils and the trans fats more so that our heart, we stay healthy, our heart stays healthy with the right oil rather than the wrong oils.
Right. Very good points there, sir. Let me also bring in Dr. Nandita Iyer on this one. Now, you know, Nandita and I were chatting earlier, and she said something so powerful that I have to quote you. She said, the biggest problem with oil is that even if we want to eat healthy, it's not us. The cook is cooking your body, right? So if they are doing the cooking, they have to be taught, and regulating that is the biggest problem. So I want to get down to understanding what are tangible solutions here, Dr. Nandita, because everybody doesn't want to eat so much oil. But a lot of us perhaps don't have the time to cook on our own. We are dependent on others. And then sort of educating that entire ecosystem is a very different ballgame. I'm just wondering, when I go back home and I say, "Sif 4 chammach tel pure din mein use hona hai," my cook is going to be very confused.
I guess confused or may want to quit because
Yeah.
we got to understand their scenario also. They are ready to cook in 1 hour in a house and then possibly prepare 3 meals and then move on to the next house, right? So it's always that they're going to cook on a very high flame, using a lot of oil, adding a lot of masalas, so that of course it has to taste good for the family that they're cooking for. But I think it also requires that, you know, we as the people who are eating the food have an eye on what's being done, or even train them, or give them feedback on a daily basis and set your expectations that, hey, I want my food in this kind of way. I have these kind of health reasons why I want to choose this kind of food. So, I have this common analogy that I also tell the clients that I coach for their health, that when you're trying to invest your money, you take so much interest in that, and you make sure that it's being put in the right mutual funds, in the right,
Yeah, yeah.
you're constantly keeping track of that. But when it
Uh,
comes to eating your food, which is the single most
yeah. What sort of a health
important
investment is that? Good
denominator when
point.
it comes
Yeah.
to your health. So we tend to completely outsource it to the cook, saying you handle it, and because didn't like, or spending time in the kitchen. But that also means that we lose agency over what we and our own family is eating. And
Yeah.
I think we have to train them on a daily basis. And the regarding the oil, I think the best way to go about it is that giving them a certain quantity. You weigh it out, you measure it out, and give it to them, and teach them the techniques, like you either brush or you spray,
Spray, yeah.
or you use the air fryer, or you use like an oven. So they need to be trained in these little things, because if they stick to their original ways of cooking, like kadai, lot of oil, and then how not to reuse the oil, or how to reuse it in the right way. So everything has to be taught, and I think
Yeah.
they will also learn and they will start implementing that. I think
Yeah.
that's how
So
it's the way to go
everybody
about.
who is in a double income household is struggling to cook. Please take this video, show it to your cooks as well, and let them understand what the pros and cons are. Right? Dr. Ashok said it's an age-old saying that you are what you eat. Where is it that we have forgotten these basics? And actually, today is not a very bad day to discuss this, because just today, and this is a story that we brought up earlier as well, in the US, the health secretary has brought up a proposal. He's saying that all doctors now should be trained mandatory in nutrition. And he's saying he'll not give funding to the medical colleges if that does not happen. because he's saying doctors need to understand and move beyond just not treating the ailment, but preventing the ailment. And when statements like these are made, all of us get very excited and we say, finally, we're moving in the right direction. What do you think the Indian fraternity is looking at it as?
I think it's the need of the hour. India is the world capital of lifestyle diseases which cause hypertension, diabetes, stroke, heart attacks. And that's the world capital. And this is all related to what we do every day. We ourselves are responsible exactly for causing the disease process ourselves, and we have to be responsible for prevention. In fact, it's interesting that only doctors should not be nutritionists. You have a right program to say every household should understand prevention of heart disease, prevention of diabetes and high blood pressure. And I'm glad you talked about salt intake yesterday, which is should become a national policy for prevention of hypertension. And that finally goes down to eating sugar and sweet food stuff, again, a policy of prevention for diabetes itself. So we have really, it's not just doctors who need to be nutritionists. Yes, we need to emphasize prevention in every aspect, of which one of the aspects is nutrition. And we certainly need to make patients, make public empowered to understand exactly like we're doing now, to understand that every household's responsibility, every person's responsibility is to understand the common disease processes. And heart attack, by the way, is the biggest killer in our country, and it could affect any of us at any time. We need to know how to be able to prevent it ourselves. हमारे हाथों में है ये सब, और हमारे हाथों में तभी होगी जब हम इसको समझेंगे. We want government policies around many aspects which we could prevent ourselves and decrease the extent of disease processes which are dooming this country. It's in our hands, and we all need to be responsible for it.
It's in our hands. I loved what you've said, Dr. Seth, and I think that's the message that we must be taking from here as well. I want to give a last comment to Dr. Nandita as well. Dr. Nandita, when we look at oils, like we said, a lot of us have habits. When I did that piece on coconut oil, I'm sure a lot of South Indians are not going to be very happy with how we've got the truth out of coconut oil as well. So in your opinion, what is the best way to switch out of these habits?
See, I think anybody to drastically change their entire style of eating or way of cooking, it's going to be hard, right? And I think one should start with some very basic things like completely cut down on ordering food from outside, because that is one major chunk where the calories from fat and both hidden and visible are more than 3x of what you could cook at home. So even a simple dal chawal, that if you're in a hurry and you make that, that is still way healthier than what you could be ordering from outside. So that's one big step. And I think just deleting the apps for some time, taking a break from ordering from outside is a huge step towards better health. Secondly,
Yeah.
measuring out the oil instead of just pouring, like you were showing in that video, that was just stressing me out, where the bottle is just being,
But we
moved
also
around the
showed the
pan.
picture of the spray. Can I please request producers to play that
Yeah,
more
so
often
that
now
was
that you're
good.
saying it?
So I
To
think
use the spray. Yeah.
so we see a lot of cooking shows, Master Chef, where they feel more is more. Like you just add, it looks glamorous on camera, but that's literally like 1,000 calories that's added to the pan. Of
Yeah.
course, divided between the family who's going to eat. But I think these are the steps where measuring instead of pouring, cutting down on outside food, then slowly starting to make the changes with respect to the type of oils, like knowing what oil to use where. Like just because it's cold pressed or extra virgin olive oil, if you lose a large quantity,
It's
that
not a
still
free
counts as
pass.
calories
Yes.
from fat.
Yes.
So I think being aware of how much and not sweating the very small stuff like, hey, that's seed oil, hey, that's palm oil, this is non-stick pan. I think people are missing the forest for the trees, and they just like looking at these tiny, tiny things which come up on social media and saying that is poisoning you, non-stick is dangerous. But look at the one thing that is reducing the quantity of oil used is going to be a big step towards health, as against all the little things that we keep worrying about.
Yeah, I think those are basics that we must all keep in mind. Dr. Seth, can I come to you with a slightly tricky question? I have held this against doctors for a very long time, that whenever we go to a doctor, the first thing that they do is write a medicine. The first thing that they do is not ask you to change your dietary habits. The first thing that they do is not to make sure that your lifestyle changes come into place. With so many years of experience that you have behind you now, do you sense a change? Do you sense when parents or when patients come now, younger patients also come in now, since you're seeing heart attacks in so many young adults as well, that they're more aware? They're saying, before we get on to that medication for life, let's fix this.
It's very interesting that you asked that. In fact, there's still so much a lack of understanding that if I was just to sum up today and just tell people 3 good oils that they should take and in small quantities and just have balanced diet and understand healthy diet. But you know what happens? Majority don't. And when a patient has a heart attack and he has a treatment, the relatives do ask, इनको खाने क्या दें, किस तेल में इनका खाना बनाए, किस तरह इनको दें, पूरा boiled दें. And when they comes back, you'll suddenly realize that he's the only person in the house who's actually is getting the good oils. The rest are all having fun time and eating a different food, which is bad. And the poor person who's had a heart attack suddenly feels an outcast in the house because he has special food, which is
That's
cooked in the
true.
best oils
Yeah.
and with a little oil. And he actually says he's eating healthy, the rest are eating unhealthy, till a time comes when you have to say कि इनका खाना अलग नहीं है, आप लोगों को सब इनका खाना खाना चाहिए,
Yeah.
तभी आप
Patient
सब
ka
ठीक
khana.
रहोगे.
Yeah.
So they think it's a patient khana to be actually have a balance, and less oil food is a patient ka khana, bimar ka khana. I think we're going to change this whole concept. Yes, we do get involved in treating patients because they come to us for treatment, but really, emphasis is a national emphasis on lifestyle
Sure.
management and prevention क्योंकि हमारी आदतें ही खराब हो गई. If we see what's happened and we say, but heart disease has increased in the young 200, 300% times over the last 15
But you've
years.
got to take an overall look at what's happening with the lifestyle as
Exactly.
well.
It's
Yeah,
exactly what we
absolutely.
say,
I really
eating outside
appreciate.
food
Yeah.
and all that which is happening to us.
Yeah. It's been a great conversation. Thank you both, Dr. Ashok Seth and Dr. Anthony Iyer, for joining us.